know what he was talking about.
Hi, Roy. Here comes Leslie. I'll just sit.
Last time I could only see my neck.
Oh, now you're sideways. That's interesting. Sorry, I think I was on the wrong router, so I should be good now. I think that's why I crashed. Okay. Okay, so everybody's coming in. Okay, we look better now. Okay, so everybody's muted, it seems like. Leslie,
Yeah, that's what
you're
I'm,
intentionally.
well, but I even.
Oh, here we hear somebody.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
That's great. Good.
And me,
Yes,
and me. Okay, good.
hey, Howard. Leslie, if you want to see, you could sit.
That might be what I should do.
Whichever is easiest for taking
Looking over
minutes.
your shoulder. And I
Okay.
have a big box.
How about this?
Oh, you want to, can you turn it that way?
Yeah. I think we're good.
We ready to start then?
If you give Leslie just a second to move to this table, I think it'll be easier for her than using the phone.
I'm here.
I think we're ready.
Okay, let's get started. What do we got? 5:32?
Is that the top? What dear God? What did you say, Jeff?
Starting at 5:32 p.m.
5:30, sorry.
Did everybody get a copy of the agenda?
I did.
Okay. Let's start with number one, review of the reevaluations.
That's me. Hello, friends. I hope you all received the email. It was sent out just shortly, about 4 o'clock, with a couple of things on it that I'd like to bring to your attention. I did spend the day in your office, and other than not having an L and a P on the laptop, everything else went pretty good. Managed to find some new growth cards and a number of things that needed to be attended to before we get into the valuation. But first thing I want to bring to your attention, it's the 2 cards marked A1 and A2. Annually, you need to create the database for the next fiscal year, and part of that process is it captures the previous value as a value history item, and that hadn't been done in a couple of years. It's not a significant thing, other than now your record is a little bit incomplete. But as you move forward in the future, remind whomever is involved with your office that as soon as you board your values, create your tax billing tape, you should save that old value so you capture the history. So if you look at card number 1, you'll notice the median value history is 2020. I did roll it over. We now have 2022. So 2021 is gone. It's history. It can never be found again, unfortunately. Not that it's a big deal. Your values didn't change much, but it's nice to keep track of that moving forward. So enough said about that. Unless you have an issue. What I did is I reviewed all of your sales. And as we had sent you an email previously with where your median assessment sale ratios were at, using that as a guide, just to give you an example of where values could be, I did make changes in your database to your tables. Approximately 25% increase to building, 15% to land, and the numbers have borne out as a suggestion, again proposed, on sheet labeled B. As you can see, I listed fiscal 2022 values and fiscal 2023 proposed values and the percent of change by property class. I changed land value, building values. What I did not change is outbuilding values. So anybody who has a significant number of outbuildings might see a 20 or 21% increase as opposed to the 22% increase. These values resulted in the medians that you see to the far right-hand side. As you can see, we're at 95, which is, I think, what I had suggested for a target. The 2 condominiums in town will not change in value. The median stayed at 98. The 104.
Ask a question. Hey, Roy.
Sure. Yep, please do.
Can you explain to us all, because I remember seeing this when we did studying for the test, but what is the median?
Median is the midpoint of your ratios. So basically the DOR measures the assessment divided by the sale price. So if you have a median of 1, that means you're technically at mythical market. It's sold for 200, you're assessing it for 200. Most communities try to be slightly below 1 in the community standards. So what that is, it's the midpoint of all of your 33 odd sales. And the next step would be to figure the coefficient of dispersion, which is about 4%. So what it says is that 96% of your sales are within 5 basis points of that median of 95. Basically, almost everybody who's sold is just about at their sale price for the proposed assessment.
And as I remember, the regulations require it to be like 95 to 0.0.
90 to 110.
110. Okay.
Right.
All right. Okay.
And the only people who've ever gone over 110 is the city of Springfield, because they were a capped community. They actually assessed at about 106 one year. Most communities shoot for somewhere between 95 and 98. 95 is, I think, kind of works for you guys because of the very large value increase you're seeing as a result of the exponentially higher sale prices that you've seen in 2021. With this is my suggestion. So now from here, if you wanted to go up or down in value, it would be pretty much a global transaction, which means no one's taxes would be overly affected. So basically, it'd be a question of, are you comfortable at 95? Are you comfortable with a 20% odd increase? And what I'm going to suggest is you certainly do not want to go down from 95, because looking at your sales ratios for calendar year 2022 sales against these proposed values, your median is at 90. So again, if sale prices have outstripped your 2021 sale prices, and most importantly, you have a tax rate bordering on $25 per thousand. That is a cap. You can't go over 25 regardless of what your values or the amount of levy that you have. So the more you push your values up, the more relief you're going to get on your tax rate, away from that ceiling of $25 per thousand.
Okay, so it sounds like, I'm speaking just for myself, 95 sounds good.
Yeah,
That's what we should be aiming for.
I mean, if you wanted to go to 98 and get 3% more change on your tax rate, again, at this point, everybody would go up 3%. So you're not in, as it stands, there'll be a slight shift because land only went up 15% between improved properties and land. It would be very, very negligible. But at this point, if you felt you wanted to continue to escalate your assessments, we treat everybody relatively the same. So exercise in futility, you're going to have to go up again next year.
Yeah.
Probably about 5%. So what's the difference? So,
So Howard, and Susan, what do you think?
It's fine. 95% is fine with me.
Yeah, it's fine, sure.
sure. Now
Okay.
we have one other thing to discuss. Actually, I talked to Lauren at the DOR about this. If you go to Exhibit C, which is the next property record card, this is the one sale that you have of waterfront property.
Right.
It's sold for $600K, and I'm with all of the proposed changes. I'm only at 409 or 406. In order to use this sale, we would have to double the land values in Lake Wyola. I don't really think you should do that based on one sale. And in speaking,
Yeah, it's fine.
okay, I think we're in agreement there. I did talk to Lauren about that, and she says if you want to throw it out, she's not a big favor of one sale making money.
Yeah, when I saw that one sale, I was thinking that's not enough to get it.
No, it's not. And I did look forward into 2022, and there were no sales that would bear any increase. And of course, 2021 is, 2020 sales are moot. And then lastly, just because I know you guys would be curious, there are 3 property record cards with your properties showing the old and new values.
Yeah, you're in trouble for that. Okay.
They came out wherever they came out. I didn't even look them over. I do know that the Department of Revenue will want to see your cards. So, if you guys can live with a 1 or 2% over assessment, it is what it is. But basically, all that's changed in your individual properties is strictly the table changes. And I think what you'll see is a range of percent value changes in the 20 to 24, 25% range, depending upon exactly what different property components make up your assessment.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right.
okay.
Okay.
So if you're good to go with that, I do have one other question. I know you employ RRC to do your personal property. I did find their report on the electric utility companies, and I did put that total value in Vision, so it's now part of your town total value. I did also find the 505s off of the state website and put them in. But what role does RRC play moving forward in this? Because we'd like to wrap this up, and if they have values that need to be put in, we need to get them on that.
And I can't answer that question because that was typically something that Kevin was running. So I have no clue.
So here's what we can do. I'll do all this. It's not a big deal. You're playing. My fee amply covers all of this labor. You have a half a dozen businesses in town. If there's forms of list or anything, we can take care of those. The vast majority of your personal property is second homes, and second homes are generally a value formulated as a percentage of building value, which obviously has gone up. And that's something that, I can come out for an afternoon and take care of it. I just don't want if you're paying RRC, I want them to do the work. If you can't get an answer from them in the short term, then next week I'll come in and we'll wrap up this project. I'll take care of the personal property, be done with it. So it's just not worth my time to wait 2 or 3 weeks to get this done when I know I can get it done in an afternoon. So
Jeff,
Becky, what do you
I'll
think?
call them tomorrow and find out and then give that answer to Roy.
yeah,
Okay.
and either or, if we can get them sometime Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, then I can wrap up all of these values and get everything off to the Department of Revenue. Frankly, the easy part was changing your values. The more cumbersome part is what you're not going to see, as I have to prepare this documentation to make the Department of Revenue sure that you have certifiable values. And that's something I have taken a bunch of reports from Vision in your office and can do it here in mine, so no big deal. But you'll let me know about that RRC thing, and we'll try to get this wrapped up next week.
Okay.
Oh, and by the way, I did calculate new growth from the cards that were in the office. There are a few cards that I've put aside for inspections for next year. There were notes on them about not being finished, but no dates. So I'm assuming the new growth is done. And as we speak, I have $2,351,000 in new growth assessed values. I think that equates to about $46,000 in levy increase. So I'll stay on top of that. If there's more to add, I'll let you know. But I have the spreadsheet ready with that number for DOR. So just so you're aware, for budget purposes, that's what you have at the moment.
Excellent, thank you.
All right. Well, with that,
Okay.
I'll say good night.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Good night, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
This is
Oh, that
fun.
wasn't as painful as we thought. Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't know
very-
about that.
Huh?
I don't know about that.
Well, when you get your tax bill, that's where the pain is.
Yeah, that's the pain.
All right, did you guys have a chance to read the meeting minutes?
I did.
Howard? First to Howard.
Hi, I'm sorry, what's the question?
Did you read the meeting minutes?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, they're fine.
I think they're okay too. So Susan, Howard, let's approve them.
Approved.
Approved. Okay, Leslie, you're up for the accountant reports.
Okay, I sent you all the documents. We have motor vehicle abatements for September totaling 8591. It's really, I assume that you'll approve that. It's straight from the abatements. We have
Sure.
betterment abatements. I think I see Ellen's. Did I see Ellen? Well, maybe not. Okay, so the betterment abatements were done in September. That's the septic loan tax that got accidentally put on. She
Right.
explained it last time. This is just in the monthly report for the accountant. And that was a total of $4,325.14. We have two property exemptions, the real property, $50.22, and the CPA 741 on the Spry property, which Ellen also explained at the last meeting. And these, as I say, are just the monthly reports reflecting that. I don't know who wants to speak to the H43 apportionment of taxes on real estate subsequently divided. We thankfully, Becky had David Burgess come in and calculate it for us, something that he did in about 5 minutes that could have taken me in a month. But it's done. The one I sent you, it says Amherst. I crossed it out and put Shutesbury. I asked him if he wanted to retype it, and he said it's not necessary. And he wants at the bottom, he put September 30th, but he wants the meeting date, so I'll change that to October 13. Once the assessors approve this, I believe that we send the approved copy to probably Attorney Spencer, but we can check with him and David on that. So I guess that takes a vote then to approve the apportionment of taxes that David Burgess prepared for us.
For the Hilda Greenbaum.
This is the Greenbaum thing, right?
That's correct.
The apportion- Okay, and my only question is, so the acreages don't quite add up. There's like 0.2 acres missing. Does anybody care about that?
I think the 2 acres would be for the house. Maybe. I'm not,
0.2 acres,
0.2.
oh, 0.2.
0.2. If you look up the before and after on that thing, like before the apportionment, it's like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to find it now. Okay, sorry, give me a minute.
So the green bomb,
So before is 31.14, right? That's on top, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Right here.
Yes. They're
You see that?
31-14 acres in square feet.
Yeah, I assume that's actually 31.14, right?
Okay.
And then below it, you have the two parcels, right? 3.057 and 28.038, right?
Yeah, and if you add them up, there's a slight difference.
Yeah, there's a slight, yeah. And is anybody going to care about that?
I wouldn't. I would say David did the work, probably using vision for the bottom, and I don't know what figures for the top.
Okay.
It'll come back to us if someone complains.
Okay, fine, sure. I just wanted to, I just thought I should check it, that's all.
Oh, good.
So
I really appreciate
was-
that. you do this.
Sorry.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I trust, the work that David did on this, but can you fill me in with a little backstory on it?
The Hilda Greenbaum's, there was a 212 Wendell Road, had a farmhouse and farmhouse with 3 acres, and then additional 28 acres opposite Highland Drive. The house sold with 3 acres. The 28 acres has been for sale, and the house sold to a family, and then the 28 acres went to Hilda Greenbaum specifically out of what had been a family trust.
Mhm.
So the taxes had to be broken down for the house and for the 28 acres. Typically, it happens at a sale. The attorneys do it. In this case, it didn't. The assessors were asked to do it, and we asked David to do it. That's all I know.
Okay, well, that's really clearly explained. Thank you.
Yeah, I remember a little bunch of this, but didn't remember all the numbers. Okay, we
So
okay, we okay with it, guys? Approved?
Sure.
just to let you know, and I don't think you have to do anything with this, Becky can correct me if you're wrong, but the town has received a notice of right of first refusal on the 28 acres. There's a buyer who wants to buy it and change the use to come to residential from recreation. And the town has up to 120 days to decide. So you might get another call from Hilda, Jeff, pushing us along, but it's a Board of Selectmen decision, not ours.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how would we know to be able to make that decision? That's not,
Right. The
The
Board of
assessors-
Assessors should, the Board of Selectmen, the Select Board should contact the departments that might be interested in it, request feedback from them, and make their decision based on that.
So right now, I think by statute, we contact historical, assessors, Concom, and planning board, and they've all received letters that contain all the information about the apportionment and the potential sale. And then while we have up to 120 days, if there's no interest from any of the departments in town, no recommendations. For example, if it was a highly sensitive spot that had been identified in the open space plan, there
Mhm.
might be a request from Concom to preserve that property, to preserve it for the town to purchase it for preservation or something. But we will go through that process. We're going to schedule it quickly, probably this upcoming select board meeting. And all the relevant parties that have gotten a copy of the apportionment and everything else. So we'll see what happens. If you guys did have input, if you thought there was a reason for the town to try to hold on to it, you would comment. And if you don't, no comments necessary. And if the town wasn't to make any comment or take any action within 120 days, our options would be disappear and the property sale would move forward.
But the sale will move forward faster if the Select Board signs off faster.
right, exactly. Okay,
Is there a buyer for it now?
Yes, that's what
Who's the
triggered
buyer?
it.
They're from Ayers, Massachusetts. I'm unfamiliar with the name. Not a
Okay.
local buyer.
Okay, and it's owned by this Green Tree Partnership is the owner now?
No, at the time in December of 21, Green Tree Partnership sold it. Green Tree Partnership was a Greenbaum family trust, but they sold it to Hilda Greenbaum specifically, who is the mother of that family. So she owns it herself now in a revocable trust, the Hilda A. Greenbaum Revocable Trust.
Yeah, it was all clear as mud.
Okay,
Just continuous changes in the computer.
I think they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
This is their last property in Shutesbury. They owned 25 Stowell Road, and they sold the house and sold to a family and sold about 125 acres to the state,
To DCR.
Fisheries and
Yeah.
Wildlife.
Oh, not this year.
Well, you might be right. To the state. They sold the D35 cell tower property to KJS or something like that, LLC. And they had this farmhouse and the 28 acres. So we're done.
Yeah,
done.
with the green ball.
Yeah, we think we're done.
And,
Okay.
and I have to say, I'm happy to have the state property right at my line there.
Good.
Kind of nice.
Yeah. Okay, next item, 3 ABC Pine Brook.
Yes, I sent you the email that they sent. They're still working on it. Kevin had
Yeah.
advised us that we can let them keep working on it through April of next year, April 1, I think.
Yeah, it's the same thing we saw last time, right?
Yeah, well, I
Okay.
don't think it was them last time. I think it was somebody else. I can't remember for sure. Wasn't it serious? I don't know.
serious.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think,
I thought it was Pine Brook, because I remember writing it down, but okay, that's fine.
well,
Let's
your
give more
memory's
time.
better than mine.
Sirius has been done for 2 years.
Yep.
They have to do it every year.
Oh,
And we kept giving extensions. Maybe it was a couple years ago.
so what is this
Sirius
for?
got extensions, 3
No,
ABC status.
we redid their agreement.
Yeah, no, we're not talking
That's
about
not what you're
that.
talking about.
Every year, those tax exempt properties have to file their 3 ABC report, which is a whole lot of accounting.
Okay,
And a couple years ago, Sirius Communities founder had passed away and they were way behind. But I'm not saying that Pine Brook wasn't last year, Jeff. I'm just saying that's what I'm thinking of. I know that year it took them, they got extensions, but that was a couple years ago. And we just keep them in the status. We know it's coming.
Exactly. And I'm okay with giving them more time. You
Okay.
guys okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
fine.
So the update is that they have not filed yet, and have they actually asked for an extension?
Yes.
Oh, they have, okay.
They asked for an extension way back in April, and it's the current one expired on August 30th.
Okay.
So the question, I guess, would be, do you want to set a new timeline for them? They said they're working on it, it's coming. They didn't ask for a specific time.
Why don't we just let them work at it, and if we don't have something by the end of the year,
We'll get on top of it.
exactly.
Sounds like a,
You might want to, when you get back, you might want to, there's a deadline of either February 1st or March 1st, right? The state
no,
deadline.
the deadline is April 1st. So,
April.
yeah,
Next April.
yeah.
Exactly. So it still gives them 4 months.
What about talking with them and asking like how soon they'll be along, because that will, prompt them to do it.
Well, they're
they've
messing-
been emailing.
Oh, they
Their
have been.
email kind of
Yeah, they've
said
been
that.
emailing updates.
Right.
It's their
Okay.
accountant that's trying to get the work done.
Okay.
Okay, chapter 61.
Chapter 61, I updated you as far as I'd gotten yesterday afternoon. I've done about 6 more of the standard ones that, unless you want, I can read off their names and the property IDs, but they're the ones, there are more that have been doing it year after year. Everything is still the same. And what we've done since COVID started is just stamp them except for the one 10-year renewal certificates for the forestry one, which is Maury. Their land straddles Shutesbury Wendell Town line. They have 215, 221.66 acres in Shutesbury. Technically, it's the same. It's just the 10-year renewal, and there are certificates that have to be signed and sent back to the state. And I usually ask Jeff to just really sign it rather than a rubber stamp at his convenience.
I can come in next week and sign them if you want.
Yeah, assuming
Okay.
that
So-
everybody approves it.
Okay, none of them are new, is what you're saying, right?
They're all renewed. I will say that one of them, Stephen Puffer, is an older gentleman on Leverett Road. He's got 6 acres that he had in agriculture and the agriculture that he did was forestry, cordwood. And in order to keep that up, he would have had to do a new forest management plan. He opted not to do that and switched it to recreation. And according to the book, the chapter 61 book, people, it's perfectly fine. And I had seen Ken help others with changes. It doesn't
Yeah.
need a new certificate. He's just, and I know he's trying to sell it anyway, so I think it's one of those things that's gonna go by the way eventually. So with your permission, I will keep I check them against their lien, against what we have in vision, against their deeds, and make sure they're signed. And as long as everything's okay the same as the previous year, with your permission, I'd like to just continue using your stamps on them.
Okay, so you don't need
That's
me to
fine.
come in and sign anything?
I do need I would like you to come in and sign the 10-year certificates for there's one chapter 61 forestry renewal on Maury. That's the one I was talking about that straddles the Wendell Shutesbury line. And those certificates go to the state. I'd just soon have a real signature. I don't know if it's required. The others just have those little teeny tiny lines that you guys used to have to sign before COVID, and the stamps work better than your signatures, frankly.
So, you want me to come in Monday morning?
Anytime that's convenient for you, Jeff.
At the moment, Monday morning works.
Okay, what time do
Okay.
you think you might come?
Like 10.
All I'm gonna say is I will come, I typically have to be here by 11. I'm glad to come anytime, but otherwise I might not make it before 11:15.
Oh, I'll come at 11.
Okay, I'll be here.
Good
I
plan.
might be here earlier, but don't count on it.
Okay, all right. Do we want to talk about 41C1/2 at all? Or do you want to wait?
I can
Okay.
report that at my meeting, and I think that it could go further, but at the annual clerks meeting in Holyoke, I was advised by Kathleen Colery, who has always been the Kathleen Colery Esquire. I can't tell you what her exact
She used to be the director.
of MMA. I
No,
think she
no,
was
no, no.
president of MMA. Was
No,
she director
no.
of DOR something or other?
Yeah,
Yeah,
she was a director of the what is it? The
Bureau of
Land
Local Accounts.
Local Accounts.
BLA.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because she's the top assessor in the state.
So the
And
reason I'm asking the question is, Howard,
Yep.
what we're finding is this is much more complicated than just what you think you saw in that goofy book. You know, that book that we all has the charts of all the different,
it's a leg person's guide to the statute.
Yeah. So we're finding that it also is as clear as mud. And we may not have done some things correctly in terms. So we don't have all the answers to be able to look at that and to,
She
solve
told
any of
me that it had to be approved at a ballot vote at an election, a municipal election. she asked me, why in the world would you do it? Because right now, everybody, we have already increased, I think it would be 41C is what increased it from $500 to $1,000. She
Right.
said, people already are getting $1,000. If you have 41C and do and a half and do the calculations, they could get less.
And it's not
Huh.
20%. The select board has to determine the percentage. So the select board can say, you know, we're gonna make it 4%. The people would get even less money.
Mhm.
So it's not a windfall for anybody. There's a lot of data that has to be put together to even for the select board to make a decision on what percentage.
And I think the only
None of
reason
this has been done.
holding off is to make sure, get clarity on all of it. But Kathleen asked for a show of hands of who had approved 41 and a half, and mine went halfway up. I said, I think we approved it, but according to the bulletin that they put out, it didn't seem like it. And at the break time, she confirmed we did not approve it properly. Needs to be the municipal ballot vote. She asked me, why in the world would you do it? At the main meeting, when she had asked for the show of hands, she said, I'm not surprised. As far as she knew, there was only 1 or 2 towns in the entire state that did it.
And if you accept 41C and a half, they can't get A,
The
B, and C,
41C.
A, B, and C, or B and C, whatever it is.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that.
it's one or the other. So you lose,
No,
you
if-
lose the
if-
$1,000 to get maybe 535.
what I read is if you accepted C and a half, minus the
41.
issue, did we really accept it? Then they can't get any of the others.
Okay, all right, well,
So
that
they
must be
could
why
get,
no
they could end up with
towns
less.
is doing it. Yeah, and maybe David Burgess could also,
He said he knew nothing about it
okay.
Mhm.
because,
Yeah,
but he
Was-
said he could look into it. He'd ask around, right?
I don't know. You may be talking about, I'm not sure.
No, I think we were.
Okay.
we were both.
Was this the exemption that the guests at the meeting, the last meeting, were concerned about, or
yeah.
they couldn't get the answers to and they were upset about it?
Yep.
Yes,
Okay. Because somebody was starting to post things on Nextdoor Shutesbury, just so you're aware, complaining about not getting responses and outraged. and
When
whatnot.
was that, though? I hope not since this month.
No, I don't think
No,
it was
no.
since, it
It
was a
was like a
little
month
earlier.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw
And
some.
I think somebody should get back to Jill and Leslie, and I'm just not sure who and when.
Mhm.
I,
yeah. Well, let me confirm with the town clerk and see if we can get that solidified that it's not that we really have not adopted it. And then we can get back to them and just tell them that we've learned 2 things. Number 1, we don't have it legitimately on our books. And number 2, what we've learned about it is it could be a decrease to your overall collection of exemptions. And for that
And-
reason, the select
even-
board will
even
decide
if-
whether to go forward.
Even if we had accepted it, the select board still has to determine what is the appropriate percentage. That's,
And you're clear, Jeff, that it is the select board that does that,
well, since we don't have a mayor, then it has to be the select board.
right?
That's what I read in all that legal BS.
I think that
Select
what
board.
might be helpful for the upset people to know is that one, that only 1 or 2 towns have adopted it in the state, and 2, that it would preclude them from the other exemptions, and 3, it would very likely be lower than almost certainly be lower than what they get currently.
yeah, because
But I don't think we want to make those statements until we're sure about all this. That's why I
Right.
was kind of hoping somebody smarter than me looked at this.
But I think we could at least let them know that it had not been properly adopted once I confirm that with Grace, and so that they know that it's not, it's not an active, viable
Option.
option for them at this point.
You know, it
Okay.
occurs to me that we purposely left it off the agenda because we weren't 100% confident with it. So I don't think we can take any real strong action here. Just say that we want to continue, that it was brought up as something that we need to continue working on, and
Yeah.
then have it on
Mhm.
the next
Right.
agenda, maybe.
Oh, sorry. Not my job, sorry.
And Becky, I never could get hold of that lady to figure out what I'm supposed to sign.
Okay,
If you want to look on Monday, maybe the three of us could do it together. I think it's not that hard. It's not, I didn't mean to say that it's not hard. I'm just saying it's a complicated thing, but we figured out the one. I think we can figure out this one much easier.
I mean, all it takes is someplace I've got to sign something, but I went through it again last night through that program and I could find nothing to sign, no place to sign anything.
Okay, then maybe I'm telling you something wrong too. I'll call Linda on Monday morning.
she didn't respond to me for 2 days, and then she didn't
I
respond. to
called,
2 days.
I
So
called
maybe-
5 times yesterday.
And she doesn't have an answering machine picking up. So maybe on Monday she'll be back and that will
Yeah,
solve the
maybe
problem.
she's been on vacation or something.
Yeah. But
Is
that's
this
the real-
something only Jeff needs to sign?
Yes,
That's
Okay.
what we think.
yeah.
Okay,
Our understand, so we removed Jeff and, well, you
No.
guys,
Okay.
Kevin,
that's what I'm trying to say. Jeff and Leslie went in to remove Kevin.
No, I haven't been in there for this.
Jeff
Oh.
did, you don't sign, sorry. People were in the room. Jeff went in
Not
and
me.
removed Kevin. And then the town clerk had to verify that removal. And then we were told that the final step was for Jeff to go back in and verify that, he approved the town clerk's verification. So maybe it was the way the town clerk did the verification or did what she was supposed to do, but we have to solve it, because if we don't solve it, none of the reports for the recap can go in. So it's,
yikes.
yeah, no pressure there.
oh, okay. Okay.
Some of the pressure things that Becky solved in the last week are much worse than that. This is easy.
We'll get it done.
All right.
We'll try again on Monday when I come in. Maybe we can get hold of her.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Somebody. Yeah, okay. And then next meeting, Susan, you want to try? Okay, now you.
I was gonna say, I just found the email for Camp Anderson, but I think we're all set with that. I just, under notices with out the 48 hours, you've been asked to recreate a budget, which I'm sure Becky can help us with, and maybe the accountant can give us last year's figures. I sent you a copy of it, and
Yeah, others.
we've been requested for a town report. The stuff at the back of the book, I had David Burgess create and show me how to do for the future,
Oh, that's amazing.
but
So how do we do this budget?
yeah,
Where are we gonna come up with the numbers?
I can go over it with you, Jeff, because I think what's, like today, Roy pointed out, he was looking for the personal property stuff, found the RRC or RRC quote, and which he found very high. So I think we want to look at the pieces are there, and, I'm going to call our RC and find out what they actually do for those. I think it's in the quote, I'll pull that out. But he said that those services are available at a much lower rate other places. So I think looking at a couple of those items that have been contracted for and just verifying that they're useful or not useful, which might be a little hard before we have our own assessor, but like that RRC one we can look at.
so,
Okay,
and if anybody has October meeting agenda items, I'm writing down right now, 41.5, 2024 budget. I don't think it's urgent that we do a report, by the next meeting, but before Ken left, I took a copy of his and figured out where all the numbers he put in came from. And I could recreate the way Ken did it. I honestly would have to find the town reports to see what Kevin did, but if someone wants to, there's no standard. If someone wants to take a crack at a narrative, fine. If someone wants me to just put in the numbers for 22 that in the format that Ken did, I feel I can do that easily. That would be my preference.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's go with the
That's-
numbers that,
Do it the way Ken used to do it.
yeah.
Yeah, that's appreciated, Leslie, if you do that.
Put that together to send out with the next meeting agenda. Get that out of the way. And I think that covers every little scrap of paper I have. And so Jeff, we are back now onto the next meeting date. And I know Susan had put in a request for she made him voice.
Yeah, so Tuesday was always a much better day for me, which we'd done for years, the Tuesday at 5:30. And I know we changed to Thursday at Kevin's request. And so I'm wondering if other people are free on Tuesdays still, and if it's okay to go back to a Tuesday meeting.
I'm okay going to a Tuesday meeting, except I've got the library building committee on Tuesdays. It's every other week.
Mhm.
So if we can dovetail it into the week that I don't have the library building committee,
Okay,
then I can Tuesday. So in our library building committee schedule got shifted because of a holiday last week. So we have a meeting this next week on Tuesday,
Mhm.
but I don't think, which would be the 18th, and then our next meeting's not till November 1.
Mhm.
They
So I,
seem to have done well with fewer meetings, even once a month. I'm just thinking till we get the reval, who knows what they have to approve, I don't. But maybe that could, maybe you would get one Tuesday off, Jeff.
so like, how about, is November 8 a Tuesday?
Yeah, I'm away. I can't do it.
Howard, are Tuesdays okay for you in general?
Most Tuesdays are okay, but some are not. I kind of need to know.
Jeff, I'm just thinking because of the reval and the recap meeting, but scheduling a meeting for October 25th might be a good idea. 2 weeks
I
That's
can do that.
on a
Tuesday.
Tuesday, the 25th.
Yeah. Howard,
I'm thinking, sorry. It works.
Yep.
I can do it.
25th.
okay, just go October 25.
Okay, and so I guess we'll take it one at a time till we get to,
Yeah, I can report, I have not had any resumes come in response to the ads yet. for
Okay,
Assessor. I will send them out if I get one immediately. You can count on that.
okay.
How much has Roy Bishop indicated that he's interested or he was willing to do anything more than whatever we've contracted him for now?
Originally, he said that he would focus just on the reval. We probably could have additional conversations with him and or with David Burgess. So we'll play it by ear, but Leslie's keeping good
Sure.
track and getting a lot of things solved.
but they're likely things I don't know about.
Right, and so we'll talk to them both and see what their availability. I think through the next month or so, he's squeezing us in. I imagine his workload might open up, but he also has a consulting business that he runs.
This is
with-
Roy.
This is Roy, yeah.
Right.
So
Okay.
together a consulting business with his son. So with his son doing a lot of legwork, there might be more potential to hire him as a consultant ongoing.
Right.
But-
Okay.
I think that would mean Leslie's continuing to have a larger role as she's been having if we go with that model. And I'm not sure how many extra hours on a regular basis Leslie is up for. So there's a lot at play.
Well,
Okay.
limited to 18 hours a week. And I don't mind doing more because I know that I go really slow, things that other people can do quickly. So right now, that is okay with me, but I don't think you're getting the knowledge that you need for the long run. And we're not the only town. I heard some really made stories at the clerks conference that made me feel really good about Shutesbury. You know, just having David and Roy has been a relief. But I'm getting older, you know, we've got to find someone younger who wants to do it, or we're going to end up like every other town that goes to a bigger consulting system, which I'm told are getting better. They're very expensive and it's not as good as the service that you get if you know your town and you're working right in it. It's watered down a lot in terms of the specific knowledge and care, but they can't help it. They're just doing the best they can too.
Okay.
Apps.
And then Becky, I heard from a little bird that you're working on the evaluation sheets that we have to fill out.
Yep,
and
I'm
then you're
doing
gonna
that with this hand over here while we talk.
Okay, and are you gonna send those out tonight or tomorrow?
It might be in the morning, depend. It
That's
could be.
fine. I'm not gonna read those things tonight anyways. I'll fall asleep. So,
Did you go to your regular work day? With,
yeah, I went to Habitat today, yeah. Mhm. That's one reason I'm gonna fall asleep.
yeah, that on top of yesterday too.
Yep, it's been a fun week. All right, I think we're done.
Has nothing to do with assessors, or I don't need to make a note of it or anything.
No, it's the
Okay.
library.
It's the library.
Just making.
Okay, we're done at 6:22.
All right.
Okay.
See you guys on
Well done.
October 25.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Keeping this ship afloat and getting the reval done. We're gonna just set that tax rate.
Yeah, it's good. Roy seems
Oh,
like
boy.
super knowledgeable. So great thing that he's on board here.
Yep,
Yeah.
we got real lucky.
Yeah.
I found him.
Take care.
You too. Good night.
Good night.
That's your picture of the law from your phone. I mean, the ceiling.
Oh, it's still on.
It was on
Oh,
throughout the
I
whole
thought I
meeting.
saw it on in there at
That-
that box.
yeah,